background on it. And remember, all this happened just in 6 months when he started prophesying till the end. So Haggai really, you're rebuking the people this time. So let's go ahead and start reading in Haggai 1. In the second year of King Darius, in the 6th month of the first day of the month, and the word of the Lord came by Haggai, the prophet, Zechariah, the son of Shaliah, governor of Judah, and to Joshua, the son of Jezadiah, and the high priest, saying, Thus speak the Lord of hosts, saying, This people says, the time has not come, the time that the Lord's house should be built. Then the words of the Lord came by Haggai, the prophet, saying, It is time for yourselves to dwell in your paneled houses, and this temple to lie in the ruins. Now therefore, thus says the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. You have sown much and bring in little. You eat, but you do not have enough. You drink, but you do not fill with drink. You clothe yourself, and no one is warm. And he who earns wages and put them in the bag with holes. Thus says the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. Go up to the mountain, bring in the wood, and build a temple, that I may take pleasure in the glorification, says the Lord. You look for much, but indeed it came too little. And when you brought it home, I blew it away. Why, says the Lord of hosts? Because the house is in ruins, while every one of you runs to his own house. Therefore the heavens above you withhold the dew, and the earth withholds its fruit. For I call for the drought on the land, and the mountain of the grains, and new wines, and the oils, on whatever the ground brings forth, on men and livestock, and all the labor of the hands. He started out here, what are these people doing? It sounds a lot like today. People are more concerned about their homes than they are about the Lord. They're out there, they said, we can't build a temple because we don't have time. We're too busy building our houses, and we're trying to make them so they're perfect. Will they ever be perfect?
No.
And the Lord's saying, Haggai's trying to tell them, you have droughts, you had stuff like that put behind you so you don't have enough. God's trying to tell you, you need them. And what are they doing? Instead of giving their time, their money, they're putting it back into themselves. That sounds like a problem we have today. Because the number one problem with ministry today is getting people to take time to do it. People today probably have more money in the United States than they've had for years. But guess what? With that money, they do more leisure stuff and they forget about God. We got to remember, Haggai's reminding us here when you get having this in the Bible. Our time we're supposed to give to Him first, and then what we have left is for us. And that's hard to remind us. Just like our first fruits we're supposed to give to Him. And if we're following Him and we want Him to bless us, that's what we need to do, isn't it? And Haggai's warning these people right now, turn away and do the right thing. And what did they do? In verse 12, then they said, Zebediah, the son of Shalai, and Joshua, the son of Zayadai, the high priest, with all the remnants of the people, obeyed the voice of the Lord their God, and the word of Haggai, the prophets of the Lord their God, had sent him, and the people feared the presence of the Lord. And Haggai the Lord, the messenger, spoke the Lord's message to the people, saying, I am with you, says the Lord. So the Lord stirred up the spirit of Zechariah, and the son of Shaliah, governor of Judah, and the spirit of Joshua, the son of Jezadiah, the high priest, and the spirit of all the remnants of the people. And they came and worked in the house of the Lord of hosts, their God, on the 24th day of the 6th month, in the second year of King Darius. So the priest in that said, you guys need to wake up and start doing this. So what did they do? They went and did it, didn't they? But then when we get to verse 2, it says, on the 7th month of the 21st of the month, the word of the Lord came to Haggai, the prophet, saying, speak now to Zechariah the son of Shelah, governor of Judah, and to Joshua the son of Jehozadak, the high priest, and the remnant of the people, saying, who was left among you who saw the temple in the former glory? And how do you see it now in comparison with it? Is this not in your eyes as nothing? Yet now in the stronghold of Zechariah, says the Lord, and be strong, Joshua the son of Jehozadak, and the high priest, and be strong, all you people in the land, says the Lord, and work, for I am with you, says the Lord of the hosts, according to the word that I covenanted with you. When you come out of Egypt, so my spirit remains among you, do not fear. For thus says the Lord of hosts, once more, it is a little while, and I will shake the heavens and earth and seas and dry land. And I will shake the nations, and I shall come to the desire of all the nations, and I will fill the temple with glory, says the Lord of hosts. The silver and mine, the gold and mine, says the Lord. The glory of latter temples shall be greater than the former, says the Lord of hosts. In this place I will give peace, says the Lord of hosts. What are they doing? Do you ever have that experience when people are just doing just enough that they think they're not getting in trouble? They're doing the bare minimum they can do. How many times do we do that in our Christian walk? We're like, yeah, let's just go out and do this, just this little bit, and then everybody will think I'm a good Christian. That's what they were doing. You know, they're like, everybody will think I'm following God. If I just go out and do just a little bit, I have this short thing I can do, I can make it look. But what happened? They weren't giving their best, were they? They were just given what they had left of their time and what they had left of their money. They're still keeping their money and time for themselves, aren't they? Mm-hmm. Everything's being kept for themselves. They're doing enough that they're thinking, well, I'm spiritual. I follow God, but they're not. We can do that. You get a lot of people that just say, I come to church on Sundays, and how they live the rest of the week. The same way, don't they? And Haggai's reminding them, you know, this is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to do our absolutely best for God. It says when we're at work, who are we working for? We're working for God. We're supposed to do our best every place we're at. So when we're doing the temple, what should it be looking like? It should be looking better than any of their houses, shouldn't it? They should be using the best products, best wood, best everything. And he says, you know, you guys aren't. You're just giving what you have left over. And that's what we do a lot of times in our Christian walk. We just give what we have left over. And it gets scary. And then in chapter 2, verse 10, it says, on the 24th day of the month, on the 24th day of the 9th month, the second year of Darius, the word of the Lord came to Haggai, the prophet, saying, thus said the Lord of hosts, now ask your priest concerning the law, saying, if one carries holy meat in the fold of his garments, and with the edge of it touches the bread, verse 2, wine or oil or any food, will it become holy? The priest answered and said, no. And Haggai said, if one is unclean because the dead body touches any of these, will become unclean? So the priest answered and said, it shall be unclean. And Haggai answered and said, so is this people, so is the nation before me, says the Lord. And so every work of their hands and what they offer there is unclean. They're not giving their best. So what does God say? It's not good enough. You know, it's just like the priest, like they give the example of the priest. If something touches the holy stuff, it's unclean, isn't it? Mm-hmm. If we're not giving our best, what is it? We're unclean. We're giving our unclean stuff. We're giving them what's left over. And that's why Haggai, when I talk to Ron, he goes, I can't believe you're doing Haggai. And I'm like, why? And as I studied it more, I knew why he said that. But this is one that really the whole church needs to hear. But right now, I'm probably talking to most of the people who do all the work. So they do stuff. So it's one of those things where we all need to hear it. We need to realize this is one of the most important things. And in verse 15, he says, "And now carefully consider from this day forward, from before the stone was laid upon the stone in the temple of the Lord, since those days one came to a heap, and 20 ephahs there was but 10. When one came in the wine vat to draw out 50 baths from the press, there was but 20. I struck you with a blight and mildews, and hail and the labor of your hands. Yet you did not turn to me, says the Lord. Consider now from this day forward, from the 24th day of the 9th month, from the day of the foundation of the Lord's temple will be laid. Consider it. Is the seed still in the barn? As yet the vine of the figs and pomegranates and his olive trees have not yielded fruit? From this day I will bless you." Zechariah the chosen son, among the words of the Lord, came to Haggai on the 24th day of the month, saying, "Speak to Zechariah, governor of Judah. I will shake the heavens and earth. I will throw the throne of the kingdom and destroy the strength of the Gentile kingdom. I will overthrow the charities and thus ride in them. The horses of rides shall come, even one by the sword and brother. In the day of the Lord of hosts, I will take you, Zechariah, your servants, the son of Shelah, says the Lord, and make you like a signet ring, for I have chosen you, says the Lord of hosts." So he starts talking about the end days. And he's telling these priests that they weren't doing anything wrong. They were telling people to do the right thing. But were the people listening?
No.
So we sometimes it's the priests that do wrong, sometimes it's the people. We got to realize we need to be both ends. Whoever's speaking or whoever's in the church needs to be fall in both ways. And Haggai's reminding them that. So, and we have to be giving our best all the time. Let's go to prayer.